Okay, recently I saw a video about quotes about how everything is the other way around. Everything is backwards. Like for example, that religion would supposed to be teaching us how to be more peaceful, and basically every war, most wars have been caused by religions because of religious conflicts. So it's like, and then how schools are supposed to teach us, and it seems that what is happening through school, that schools are actually becoming more and more the obstacle to true learning, etc., etc. And I wanted to explain that why I think the essence of why this is going, why everything is backwards, is because we are actually what I would call learning, teaching and learning things from outside. So we would be looking at, we're actually looking, we're studying reality from the outer shell. For example, we would be looking at quantum, we would be studying the quantum effects of this deeper field, while in terms of the inner approach, studying reality from within, which would be from the self, what we would realize is that these quantum effects are the effects that the self creates. So we are not teaching how to become the miracle maker. We're studying the miracle in a way of speaking. If we were to study it from inside, then basically what we would be doing is we would be studying the self, and very much in terms of the Fibonacci spiral. The closer we get to the core of the self, the more we would reach these quantum levels, and even what we would call what we have projected outwards as God. See, religion is like school. Religion is studying the outer projection of God, of source energy. And religion actually is a wonderful example, because what you find with religion is that we end up worshiping God. We end up worshiping that thing outside of us. We end up becoming dependent on it. Like today, I wrote a post where I said that we are actually creating the effects that we think the food is having on us, which is of course the placebo effect. But yet we tend to then study the food in terms of these properties, of course, that they have on us. So it's exactly backwards. It's actually that we are creating these properties, these effects that the food has. And of course the question that is then begged is, of course, yeah, why would we need to eat? But we need it. This is what I said a little while back in a discussion. We need imagery. We need an excuse to listen to ourselves. Like when we give a talk, like this talk, I am actually, I need this medium, or I use it to listen to my own thoughts. So we speak to others. Of course, we need others, so we need others to listen to us, but very much so that we can listen to ourselves. So the world was actually meant for that. The world was actually meant as a kind of a three-dimensional mirror, in order that we could get to know self. The whole effort is self-consciousness. The whole journey is to become conscious of self. And then someone, my wife just asked me, because I said if we were to study things from inward, we would study it in terms of self. So we wouldn't study the properties of water as water. And then she asked me, how would you study water then in terms of self? And then I said, yeah, water, that's the unconscious. That's the way Jung studied water, in terms of the unconscious. This is the way it always emerges in dreams as water. You see, and then everything. So if we were to study self, every the the first layers would reveal to us the first layers that reality at its surface would be yin, symbols of self in terms of yin and yang, and then towards the deeper levels we would get the deeper levels of self, and then reality would take that. We would realize that what I would call deep synchronicity, that reality would be deep synchronicity, which would be a deeper level of self. But now we're studying the external properties of basically what of ourselves unconsciously. Like when I studied leadership at graduate school, they wanted to study the traits and properties of charismatic leaders, and then this is where I realized that what charisma really is what the self emanates, which are these quantum effects, are miracles in organizations, families, and societies. And then that's where I realized that you cannot separate the observer from the observed. But what I also realized is that we were studying the outer shell of the process, the miracles, not the miracle maker. And that's where I proposed, I remember, to the head of the program, and I said, you know what, actually it's this Jung also spoke of the mana personality, which is this charisma means this incredible, powerful personality, but Jung called it the mana personality, which is actually the self. And I said Jung was studying this very same process of charisma, but in terms of the self, from inside. How do we become the miracle maker? And then the miracles are just the byproduct of the miracle maker. And the effort then is to become self, to become aware of self, not to create miracles. That's the about the byproduct of being the self. And this program was studying this by the byproducts. It's like health. We're studying the byproducts of being in balance, which is the properties of health, but not the balance, not how to reach the balance. So then you get a society that is hooked on healthcare, external healthcare, and true healthcare would be how to help people to create the balance from within. That would be like internal healthcare, which would be basic, and health would be a byproduct of self. Wouldn't even be like an agenda point. And now we're in a society where you got crime and disease and wars, and everything is an agenda, which are byproducts of being not in touch with the self. If we were to be in touch with the self, we would then have the byproducts of that, which would be peace and health and love and miracles and incredible development. By intrinsically, so we're just, the whole thing is backwards. We really need to study self, and which is not like filling the glass with water. It would really be the peeling off of the layers of the onion, the emptying out of the person, to find the empty space beyond the prejudice, beyond the thoughts, and then find the diamond. Like yesterday, someone had this wristband of crystals, and there was these crystal stones were so-called found in Tibet and whatever, and I said, you know what, the stones are symbols of you. You are the stone. You are giving these stones the properties that you think they are. So yes, we need the stones, but we need to be aware, just like the food we need to eat, because we need an excuse to connect to self and to connect to the fact that we are creating these effects. And we need love and we need sex, but we need to, it's all there to remind us of what we are doing. Because we are actually we are creating these miracles and these quantum effects and these effects, if you wish, of food and everything else.